Now this is a little modification I've been wanting to make to the R1 for quite some time. We've done a lot of little detail changes when we put the Ferrari badges on and got rid of all the graphics. I've done a lot of little things on this bike. I made an exhaust system. This is my own exhaust, of course. Made a lot of little dedicated carbon fiber parts. The biggest modification so far that I've been really happy with, to be honest, is this putting on these Renthal bars, which have made the bike just so much more fun to ride for the style of riding that I'm doing and the amount of mileage I put on in any given day. And these are RD risers that I machined up so that they would fit the Renthal bars, and it really worked out fairly well. At the same time I did that modification, I was very excited about the fact that as long as I'm going to do this, I wanted to add steel brake lines. Some of these other carbon fiber parts that I've put on. One of my next things will be a rear steel brake line, but right now we only have the front ones. And as always, every project is a work in progress. The steel brake lines really have worked out really nicely. That's been one of the good modifications. I have a little, what's nice about this, I have a little clock that I got from AutoZone. The reason I like to have the clock is a lot of times when I'm going somewhere, I want to know if I'm going to be there at 10:30 or whatever. The clock that comes on an R1 is so small you can hardly read it. This has nice big numbers. It's also got a temperature gauge. So what it allows you to do is see the ambient temperature. I've made 6 seats for this bike. First of all, I've made this piece, this whole piece, and the little carbon fiber, I don't know what you would call it, to lean your back on. Made the carbon fiber pad and 6 different cushions. So as this R1 evolves, and it's always a work in progress, you have the rear sprocket. But one of the things, now Luciano had gotten some really nice stuff from China, and I don't have the address of where he got it from, and he got these really nice gold levers, and he got gold levers that are made dedicated for this bike. So he offered to get me a set. It was very nice that he did. Needless to say, we always appreciate little donations like this to our cause. And these came from China, and because I used to be a partner in a machine shop, I'm always critical of other people's machine shop work. And when I looked at them, and because my friend George Venturini owned an anodizing shop, I'm critical of anodizing. So I'm just a critical old man, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, as I took these out, I looked, and they are really nice. Now, I just happen to be looking, and you can't make this up, I happen to be looking in Road Racing World at the equivalent things that are not made in China, and they're $125. These I think were around 20 bucks, but I'm not sure. Now what's nice about them, and what I really like, is they have this on-the-fly adjustment. Now what's going to happen is very soon I'm going to be having surgery on on my left hand, and so I wanted to have this to see if this would help. My pinky is supposed to be in a splint for a while, and I thought, yeah, maybe I could adjust this, or it might be maybe worth having that. And of course the other side, adjust the brake side. A nice little touch. And the R1 does have some adjustment to it, but it's an awkward thing to adjust it. It's not as nice as this. This is really nice, the way this went together. The anodizing is real nice. Now, I could always be a little critical of the machine shop tooling marks that are still left, but when you buy something that's a sixth of the price, Now, I had already polished up the R1 adjusters, and you can see they have a knob there, and you can, I don't know. I never was really crazy about that. And these are really long levers, which I'm not sure they have some purpose, because everybody grabs the lever in here anyway. Nobody grabs the lever out at the end, so a lot of maybes, and I'll know more once I get to ride the bike with these levers. Now, as can always happen, if you go to do a job on a motorcycle and it's pretty straightforward, you figure, wow, there's only 2 bolts holding this together. This is going to be a 10-minute job. And you know somewhere in the job there's going to be a little gremlin. And in our case, of course, there was a gremlin. But the parts basically did fit perfectly. So I really can't say it's a difficult retrofit. It's just that I spent a lot of time making sure that these things were a precision fit, because look how different they are in size. Now, because these are shorter, but again, you always grab the lever here. I don't know anybody that, unless you're Godzilla or something, you grab the lever out here. So, and because it's adjustable in a much, I think even a bigger range, I think these are going to be real nice. And they have the quick breakaway feature, which I don't know that we don't want to have any breakaway features. We want to just never crash. Now, I always assemble everything when I'm doing the levers because I can get in there real nice. I got the pivot bolts out with a little bit of wheel bearing grease. I did the brake side first. That went in really, really nice and easy. You get to the clutch side, and of course, everything is just a little bit funky here because I don't want to pinch the cable. And the ball that goes inside here has a little nylon sleeve that I don't want to booger up. So I just had to be real delicate about it. And you can back the adjuster off enough to get the cable out. Otherwise you got to pull the hand grip off and pull these parts off, and it can just get to be a pain in the neck if you can't get the cable out. But of course, one of the nice things about Yamaha, they engineer everything up so you can get at it. And this was real easy to get at. I released a couple of threads on that, the lower adjuster, and the cable came right out. So that really made it easy. Now I also have on the bottom here, there's a switch that I have to disconnect the wires from. And of course not forget to put it back in too. It's an interlock switch, so it tells the computer in the bike that the clutch is in or out. Now this little guy here has a nylon sleeve, and I was thinking, I wonder here, because it's a nylon sleeve that I guess reduces the friction because it's a friction point. While I had the cable up, I put the cable luber on and just ran some lube down in there. Again, the most difficult part of the whole thing was getting that sleeve, that little nylon sleeve, to sit in there and line up just the way it should. Another thing is the clutch side has this bushing that really was pressed into this lever pretty tight. It was really a job getting that bushing out. But of course, maybe it's not even supposed to come out, in fact. But it did fit right in. It was a nice press fit. And I had already had these levers off because I polished them. I took off their clear anodizing and polished them on a polishing wheel. But I know the gold ones will look a lot better. And at this point in time, when you're talking about $20 for an accessory, if you don't like it, you just give it to somebody for their birthday present, even if it doesn't fit their bike. Anyway, this was a nice thing. Once that bushing was out, pre-greasing everything before I put it back. And I've known people that have bought a set of levers and gone home with them and thought they're going to snap them on, and they don't exactly fit. Sometimes the expensive ones don't exactly fit. Or they have to do some grinding or drilling, or the bushing won't come out. But luckily, we kind of ducked a bullet here today. And I wanted this to go smoothly, again, because I'm having some minor hand surgery. And I wanted this little job to be done before I rode the bike the next time. And I thought this would give me a couple of little reasons to get this done. So I did get up really extra early to get this started. But ultimately, it all went back together. From that point, pretty straightforward. Although, to be honest, this is a real press fit in this bushing. They really have made that a, well, for whatever reason. And I always appreciate when two parts are supposed to just mate together, they just mate up so nice. Putting on the castellated lock nuts. Now, I was amazed. This range that these levers have, I never really appreciated. And I appreciate that you can do this on the fly. If you're riding down the road and the brake lever or the clutch lever doesn't feel right, you can just click this without even slowing the bike down. You can click it with a glove on. And so the next thing, of course, is to get the clutch set with just a little bit of free play. Line up the levers back in the handlebars the way they're comfortable for the rider. And I really thought, when this was done, I really thought not only that it was more of a functional thing, but it really looked like it, to me anyway, it looked like it was going to work pretty good. And just some of the different things. I know Luciano will like to look at this, or we do have a few friends that have this type of bike that might want to put the levers on. And the total deal is it's under 25 bucks, I'm sure, and they're available on the internet. They might be available from several other countries, so who the heck even knows. But as opposed to some of the accessories that I've had to make or that I've had to fit, or as an example, the Josh Hayes headlight inserts, anybody has never made these parts. And don't think you can just buy them aftermarket. No such thing. Make them yourself or buy them from Team Yamaha for some ridiculous amount of money. And in fact, I'm sure Yamaha wouldn't even sell it to you. But we got them. But anyway, all for fun anyway. Anyway, once I got these all set, I sat on a bike and kind of got them just ballpark adjusted. I said, wow, nice, really nice little upgrade. That was one of the nicest of the little upgrades. And there's many things I've done. As an example, I've made brackets, carbon fiber brackets to hold the master cylinder front and back. And some of the rerouting of the cables and wires and different things that, it gets tricky and time consuming. This was a nice straightforward job. And I always have, Josh Hayes is a 3-time Superbike champion, and now I just love this look. This is like, and in fact, it's one of the things I spent an incredible amount of time making these scoops, but I just love the way that looks, as opposed to a regular R1, which looks nice, but again, it's all in the eye of the beholder anyway. But as I end this video, one of the things I did make years ago, and I did have a dedicated video that I think Luciano has, or Ray or somebody, but I don't have it here, but was making of the exhaust system. And I always like to look over the bike, because a bike, no bike that I've ever owned is ever done. It's always a work in progress. And these are the little things we've done over the past few years. And we hope you enjoy sharing his little video of the bike. Those mufflers do have a nice growl when you get on them. Several cops have told me that. Anyway, our little lever job is done. The only thing left is get out on the road and get these final adjustments set. First we have to wait for the R1 to warm up, of course. We've been able to share with our friends on YouTube. I hope you've enjoyed watching this little video and give you some idea of what's involved in doing this stuff on your own bike.